So today we're going to be doing a grocery shopping budget in Microsoft Excel. Now we've already gone over the essential features of the Excel workspace, but what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and put some data in there so that you can see how Excel works. Now what we're going to do to make our grocery shopping list is we're going to look at the example, and this right here is what the example looks like. You can see that I have my name, I have the title of the assignment, which is grocery shopping, I have the period that I'm in, and then I have a list of items, and those items are bread, eggs, apples, bacon, and milk. And I have an amount that I want to buy for each of those, and I have a cost for each one of the ones that I want to buy. Now, if I buy one loaf of bread, it's going to cost me $2.89. And so I can figure that out by multiplying 289 times 1. But if I have apples, each one of my apples is going to cost 55 cents, and I have 8 apples. So in order to figure out how much the total cost would be, what I would do is I would multiply 0.55 times 8. And so we're going to be doing that. We're going to look and we're going to see just how much of this stuff could we actually buy. We have an amount in our food budget. That amount is going to be $35. And the thing to remember here is that once we add all of this up, we're going to get a total cost for all the items, and we're going to subtract that from our total that's in our food budget in order to be able to get our balance. So in order to do that, it's not probably as difficult as it sounds. We're going to come up here in Microsoft Excel. You can see that we have all of our cells. We have our columns, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and we have our rows, 1 through 25 here. Now, we could just type in our names right here, but instead we would want that to show up on every page. So we want to insert a header. In order to do that, we're going to go to where it says Insert. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to the part of the menu up here that says Text, and we're going to go to where it says Header and Footer. We're going to go ahead and type in a header. We don't want to do it in the center of the page. We want to do it right here. So we're going to type in our names. So for me, that would be Mr. Wybrandt. On the next line, I would say grocery shopping. And then underneath that, I'm going to put my period. Now you can see that we have a little bit of a problem. That header is going into our cell data. And the way that we're going to fix that is we're going to come right over here to the left-hand side, and we're going to wait until our cursor turns into an arrow that has 2 points facing up and down. And we're going to click, and then we're going to drag down until we get underneath where it says period 1. So now our header is not in our cells. Then what we're going to do is we're going to type in the information that we've got right here. So we have item, underneath item, we have bread, underneath bread, we have dozen, period, eggs, underneath that we have apples, underneath that we've got bacon, and underneath that we have milk. Those are our items. Over here we're going to say amount to buy. Then we're going to click out of that cell, and you see that it has amount to buy, and the words are actually hovering over this cell right here. But if I click right there, I can say cost each, and you see that now that shows up instead. And then I can do total cost. Now we have a little bit of a problem because we can't see all of where it says amount to buy. In order to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this cell, we are going to right click, and we're going to come down here to where it says Format Cells. Then we're going to go to the tab that says Alignment. Now what this allows us to do is it allows us to set where everything is going to be aligned, but it also allows us to do this part down here where it says Text Control, and we're going to click on where it says Wrap Text. And we're going to say OK. And you see that now that turns into a little bit larger cell, and we have amount to buy in there. We're going to make sure that all of these pieces right here are centered, so we're going to highlight those, and we're going to come up here to where it says Center, and we're going to click on that. And now we have item, amount to buy, cost each, and total cost. Now, right now, all of those words are on the very bottom of each one of those cells, and we don't want them to be on the bottom. We want them to be right in the middle, so we're going to come up to where it says Middle Align, and you can see that now it is middle aligned. We also want all of those to be bold because that's the way that it is in the example, and we want all of our items to be bold as well. So we're going to highlight those, and we're going to click on where it says bold. Then we're going to put in our numbers. So we have 1, 2, 8, 2, 2. And over here, we have the amounts. So 2.89, 2.39, 0.55, 4.23, and 1.89. Now, over here, we could just put in these numbers right there, but we don't want to do that. And we know that the total cost over here is going to be the number of items that we have times whatever those items cost. Over here for the total cost, we could then put equals, because what we're saying is that the cell D2 will equal whatever it is that we put in next. And we could put in 1 times 2.89. And it'll give us the correct answer. The problem with this is that we don't want that to happen, because what if we decide that we want to buy 4 loaves of bread? If I put 4 and I hit enter, you see that our total cost doesn't change. But one of the nice things about Excel is that if I come back in here and I say equals, and I click on B2, and I multiply whatever the value of B2 is times whatever the cost is, it will automatically make that calculation for me. So if I take this and I make it 1 again, it'll make this 289. Now, one of the other nice things about Excel is that now that I know that what I want for this one is going to be the value of this cell times the value of this cell, I know that down here I'm going to want the value of this cell times the value of this cell. And in order to do that, I could go through and I could say equals and click here and multiply by this, and it'll give me the correct answer. Or, since I have to do that for a number of items here, what I can do is I can click on this very first one where I put in my formula initially, and you see how I have a big plus sign right here. If I take that and I scroll over this bottom right hand edge, you see how it turns into a little plus sign. If I take that and I drag it down, it does something called autofilling, and what that means is that it takes whatever this was and it adjusts it. So you can see up here that now the value of D3 is going to be B3 times C3, and this one is going to be B4 times C4. So it's automatically doing the calculation for me, which is kind of nice. Now these right here, these are all supposed to be in dollars, right? And we can do a couple of things here. I'm going to show you the one way to do it, then I'm going to show you the other. If I right click here and I come down to where it says format cells, I have a lot of different options. And the one that I'm going to want is this one that says number, and I can select currency right here. From all of these different ones, I can select currency, and I can say that I want 2 decimal places and that I want this to be the symbol that's going to show up. If I do that and I say OK, now it gives me all of those with the money sign in front of them. Now if I change this, if I get rid of what I just did, I can also come up here to where it says number and I can put this $sign on there. But I don't have as many options if I do it that way. So I'm going to do it the original way, the format cells, and I'm going to go to currency, 2 decimal places, the symbol is going to be that, and there we go. Now down here I have the total cost, and then I have amount in my food budget, and then right here I have balance. In order to make those bold, again, we came up here and we click on that. Now we want to do something else here. We want it to take up 3 of these cells because we want the total cost to be underneath the total cost over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight these 3 cells, and we're going to come up to this button right here, and what it says is merge and center. And so we're going to go ahead and merge it and center it, but we don't actually want it to be centered. We want it to be aligned to the right, so we're going to click on align to the right. Then we're going to do that for this one, merge and align to the right, and for this one, merge and align to the right. Now the total cost is going to be all of these numbers added together, and we can do that by saying equals this plus this plus this plus this plus this. But that's kind of tedious, right? Where it says total cost, we could go through and we could do that and it would be correct, but there's an easier way to do this. There are things called formulas that are in Excel. And so what we can do is we can say sum, which is what you get when you add things together, and in parentheses, if we put D2 colon D6 and we say enter, it'll automatically fill this in for us. Now right here, we know that we have $35 in our food budget, right? Now you see that this isn't in numbers anymore, so again, we would right click, we would format cells, currency, 2 decimal places, make sure that it's got the symbol. And now we have $35. And for our balance, we're going to say equals our $35, so the value of D9, minus the total cost of all of our items that were in D8. We say enter, and then we have our leftover money, which is enough for us to go off and get, 10 songs in the iTunes store. What we're going to do next is we're going to put these borders around all the different pieces. So in order to do that, we highlight the cells that we want the borders around. Then we come up, and just like we saw when we were in Word, we can click on this arrow right here, and we can select all borders. We can come to this next set. We can say all borders. And now we have a completely working spreadsheet. So let's say that I want 2 loaves of bread. You see that it adjusts the cost here, it adjusts the cost here, and it adjusts the cost here. If I say that I want 4 gallons of milk, again, it adjusts the costs. What I want you to do is I want you to change these numbers. Do not end up with the same numbers here that you had originally. I want you to come up with your own numbers right here, but you need to make sure that it adjusts in all of these cells. When you get finished, save this with the name GroceryShopping, no space, and then go ahead and turn it into the Dropbox.